Once upon a time, my friend set off on an adventure, leaving behind a golden opportunity for me. His mother, with a warm smile, extended an invitation for me to come over and share in the joy of their home while he was away. Welcome to Bad Boys Channel, where we reveal true adultery stories with unexpected developments. If you find the video interesting, consider subscribing and liking it. Your support really aids the growth of our channel. Now let's embark on the journey into the story. Now let us embark on a journey into the tale. Allow me to introduce myself. I go by the name Alex. At the age of 26, I find myself residing just beyond the vibrant city of Denver, where I weave my craft as a freelance web developer. There's nothing particularly thrilling to share. From the halls of high school, a bond was forged with Alex, my dearest friend. He's more than just a friend. He's family to me. And his mother, Mrs. Evans, she was simply known as Alex's mom, ever gracious, ever serene. She would delight us with snacks after school, gently reminding us to close the doors with care. The type of mother who captivates with her unique charm. A few weeks back, Alex sent me a message sharing that he was off to Hawaii for a 10-day adventure with his girlfriend. There I was, thinking to myself, how fortunate he is. But just as I was about to hit send, he followed up with, "Hey, my mom might need some assistance with things while I'm away. She has been rearranging the items throughout the home. If you happen to be nearby, would you mind stopping in?" Absolutely. It's nothing to worry about. A few days later, I reached out to her. "Greetings, Mrs. Evans. I heard from Alex that you could use a bit of assistance with something." Her response came swiftly. "Greetings, Alex. If you have a moment, I could really use a hand with the hallway cabinet. It weighs too much for my strength. Do share your thoughts with me." And so it came to pass, direct and clear. Indeed, it was unmistakably her. As I arrived at her house on a Tuesday, the clock struck noon. It was an odd sensation to be in that place without Alex by my side. The driveway remains unchanged, the porch still stands, yet a hush blankets the scene. As she swung the door wide, I must confess, I found myself taken by surprise. She appeared transformed. Not in an overly theatrical manner, simply more organized, a touch more slender than I recalled. With hair pulled back in a tidy fashion, she donned a cozy beige sweater paired with jeans. She appeared weary, yet graceful. Elegant, indeed. "Greetings, Alex," she spoke. Her smile danced lightly on her lips, a gentle gesture that barely touched the air around her. "Step right in." We shifted the cabinet, a weathered oak relic, from the hallway to the guest room. It was a quick affair, lasting no more than 20 minutes. With that thought in mind, I decided it was time to venture out. As I reached for my keys, she inquired, "Would you care for a coffee before you head out?" In that moment, I paused, caught in a web of uncertainty. Staying was never on my mind, not really. Yet, there was a quality in her voice, gentle and perhaps tinged with a hint of hope, that compelled me to agree. Gathered around the kitchen table, we found ourselves in a moment of shared presence. I had visited that place countless times, yet this experience was unlike any other. As she brewed the coffee, we settled into a conversation that flowed like a gentle stream. Not the kind of chatter that skims the surface either. She inquired about my profession, whether I was still involved with someone, and my thoughts on the experience of living solo. For some reason, I found myself sharing more than I typically would. Indeed, she did. At one moment, she gazed out the window and murmured, almost as if to the world beyond, "This house feels too big sometimes." Silence envelops the space. In that moment, time seemed to stand still. Words eluded me in that moment, so I inquired, "Do you ever ponder the idea of relocating?" With a gentle shake of her head, she conveyed her thoughts without uttering a single word. "Absolutely not. It's not the dwelling. Here I am. I'm not quite sure. I'm in the process of getting used to the idea of not being in demand constantly." In her words, there lingered a certain something, as if the words had been patiently waiting within her for ages. In that moment, she turned her gaze towards me, a smile gracing her lips. "Grateful for your assistance today, Alex, indeed." That smile hung in the air, a gentle reminder of warmth and connection. And for the first time in my life, I saw her not merely as Alex's mom. I beheld her. The following morning, just around 9:30, my phone vibrated softly as I sipped my coffee at my desk. I thought it might be a client, but when I turned to see, it was her, standing there. Once upon a time, there was a remarkable figure known as Mrs. Evans. Greetings, Alex. While rummaging through the attic, I stumbled upon some dusty old photo albums. I hoped they would bring a smile to your face. If you find yourself with some time to spare later, do come by and visit. My gaze lingered on the message, time stretching out as I absorbed its weight. Uncertainty lingered in the air, leaving me pondering its meaning. It had an air of casualness, yet there was something more beneath the surface. This isn't the sort of message you share with just anyone. It was unlike her to extend a hand in such a manner. Yet yesterday had unfolded in its own unique way as well. She had begun to share a bit more of herself, and thus had I. Perhaps that was simply the essence of it. After pondering for a moment, I crafted my response. Absolutely. At the stroke of 2, her response arrived with remarkable swiftness. Absolutely splendid. As the clock struck 2, I found myself gliding into the familiar driveway, a place I had visited countless times before. Yet, in that moment, I became acutely aware of the profound silence that enveloped the street. Not Alex. Silence reigns. It was just the two of us, together in our own little world. As I approached, the door swung open, almost as if she had been waiting for me all along. She donned a deep blue button-up blouse paired with light jeans. Just simple and straightforward. Yet, she appeared, quite simply, enchanting. It was an undeniable truth. Authentic. Relax and find your comfort. Step right in, she beckoned, her smile radiating warmth as she gracefully moved aside. Upon the coffee table in the living room, 3 substantial albums were arranged with care, each one a treasure waiting to be explored. I settled onto the couch while she reached for the first one, unfolding it gently on her lap. With a playful chuckle, she remarked, "Alex would probably feel a bit embarrassed if he knew I shared these with you." With each turn of the page, she unveiled a new chapter of her tale. Images of infancy, academic milestones, candid moments. There were those that brought a smile, filled with whimsy and lightheartedness. Some had lived so long that they were beginning to blur at the edges. It brought a smile to my face to see Alex in those comically large glasses or shedding tears while getting a haircut. We found ourselves in fits of laughter, truly. Yet amidst the laughter, she began to weave the tales that lay behind the photographs. She shared her tale of raising him all on her own. Let me share with you the tale of sacrifices. She held her silence, not a word of discontent escaping her lips, lost in thought. Her voice carried a certain sincerity that resonated deeply. It was as if fragments of her own past were surfacing from the depths where they had long been hidden. I toiled at 3 different jobs the year he celebrated his 9th birthday, she reminisced, her gaze lingering on a photograph of a cake adorned with candles. Ah, the memory of baking that cake at the stroke of midnight lingers in my mind. Though weariness weighed heavily upon me, I was determined not to let him believe I had overlooked anything. She smiled at the photo, yet her gaze seemed to drift into another world. And so, the hush enveloped the scene. It wasn't me who caused the breakage. A palpable change swept through the room as if the very air was alive with anticipation. At last, she mused, you know, there are moments when I ponder who I might have been had I not devoted every bit of myself to nurturing another. Her eyes flickered towards me, a hint of concern dancing in them as if she feared her words had spilled too freely. It's not regret, she interjected with a sense of urgency. My heart swells with love for my son, more than anything else in this world. Yet I found myself never truly having the opportunity to embrace a life solely for my own desires. With a graceful rise, she made her way into the kitchen, her words drifting back about the promise of tea. I trailed behind her, my mind a whirlwind of unspoken words. With her back turned to me, she stood at the counter, the kettle warming up in the background. Then, without glancing back, she spoke. I realize it may seem selfish, but I yearn to experience something once more. I yearn for laughter that knows no remorse. Move to the rhythm of your heart, letting the music guide your every step. Simply embrace my essence. I found myself standing there, enveloped in uncertainty. Not about her, but about me. At long last, she spun on her heel, gazed upon me. Her voice had softened, a gentle whisper in the air. To you alone, I have shared this secret. You're not quite family, yet you're more than just an ordinary fellow. You possess the gift of attentive ears, a person who truly perceives my essence. I took a deep breath. What a surprise this turned out to be. Then she inquired, her voice gentle yet unmistakable. "Would you accompany me for an evening? Just a casual encounter. Help me find my way back to feeling like myself again." The choice was clear as day. I simply nodded in understanding. "Indeed," I proclaimed. "Share with me the moment." In that fleeting instant, she appeared more youthful than I had ever witnessed before, as if a fragment of her essence had been resurrected. The days that followed seemed to slip away in a haze. The day was filled with tasks, yet my thoughts continually drifted back to the words of Mrs. Evans. The invitations she extended, urging me to join her, echoed in my mind like a haunting melody. I reassured myself it was merely a casual gesture, just her seeking the comfort of a friend's company. Indeed, she had faced countless challenges while nurturing Alex all by herself. Perhaps a night out was exactly what she required, wouldn't you say? Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Over the years, I had wandered through her home countless times, yet it was always in the company of Alex. There existed a distinct boundary, a natural distance that lingered between us. At that moment, she was urging me to take the leap and cross it. On the eve before, she sent me a message. "Alex, what do you say to Friday? Shall we gather for dinner at 7? As I perused the message repeatedly, each word began to weave its own tale. Friday arrived with a swiftness that caught me by surprise. The conversation we shared lingered in my mind, still waiting to be fully unraveled. Yet there was a spark of excitement in her eyes. She stood there, anticipation etched on her face, and I knew I couldn't leave her in suspense. "That sounds delightful," I respond, my fingers trembling with anticipation. The following day, I stood before her door, a flutter of nerves dancing within me. With that familiar, inviting smile, she opened it. Yet, on this occasion, there was an unmistakable shift in the way her gaze met mine. With a sense of anticipation in her voice, she spoke, her tone airy and full of promise, as if an adventure awaited just around the corner. Her way of speaking was unlike any other. There was a whimsical spark to it, a tone I had never encountered from her before. In a simple black dress that whispered elegance, she wore her hair in soft waves, exuding a grace that felt effortless and natural. She appeared different from the woman I remembered as Alex's mother. She appeared as a stranger, a figure from a tale I had yet to hear. We journeyed to a quaint little eatery, one of those charming spots adorned with soft lighting and flickering candles on each table. It may not have been extravagant, yet it exuded a warm and personal atmosphere. As we settled into our seats, the words flowed effortlessly, as if they were meant to be shared. She was at ease, a stark contrast to the woman I once knew, perpetually occupied with chores and tasks. A fresh presence entered the scene. "So, how goes the tale of your work?" With a sip of her wine, she gazed at me, her eyes sparkling with true curiosity. "Excellent. Engaged, yet thriving." I suggested, "Do your best to avoid sounding too out of place." We wove a tapestry of conversation, touching on every thread and leaving some untold. She inquired about my family, curious about my experience of living independently, the typical questions that arise when one is unsure of how to begin a conversation. Yet it wasn't the inquiries that took me by surprise. Her gaze held a world of unspoken tales. It felt as though her words carried a deeper meaning, as if she was weaving a narrative rather than merely engaging in small talk. It felt as though she had a genuine desire to uncover the layers of who I am. As the night unfolded, a shift in my perception began to take hold, and I found myself gazing at her in a new light. Her laughter brought a smile that seemed to dance across her face, and her eyes sparkled with warmth as she recounted the cherished moments of raising Alex. There was a gentle pause, a thoughtful breath, before she opened up about something close to her heart. "You know, I don't do this often," she said, her voice softening as she spoke. "I prefer to stay in." I never truly engaged in that endeavor. In the midst of my bustling days, I found myself devoted to Alex, ensuring that every detail was just as it should be. Time slipped through my fingers, leaving no room for my own needs. Her words carried a weight, an elusive quality that I struggled to grasp. It was not regret that filled the air, but rather a deep, wistful yearning. She found herself lost in thoughts of the life that could have been, a life she had set aside for the sake of others. I understood, I replied, attempting to maintain a playful tone, yet the earnestness in her voice was impossible to overlook. As we concluded our meal and stepped out of the restaurant, her fingers brushed against my arm with a gentle touch. It was far from a mere coincidence. There was a deeper significance woven into it. "I needed this tonight, Alex," she whispered gently, "more than I ever imagined." Her gaze met mine, and in that fleeting moment, I sensed that magnetic pull once more, even more intense than before. There she stood right before me, not merely as Alex's mother, but as her own unique self. A woman with her own aspirations, desires, and it seems, a few lingering regrets. Words eluded me in that moment. How might one go about it? With a small, almost bashful smile, she and I made our way to the car together. As I navigated the winding roads toward her home, a palpable shift enveloped us. The air hung thick, brimming with a tension that whispered of secrets untold, a matter that demanded my attention. As we arrived at her abode, I brought the car to a halt. She lingered for a moment, hesitating to step out. In that moment, she pivoted to face me, and for an instant, it was as if the very fabric of time had paused. "Thank you for tonight," she whispered gently. Her voice flowed softly, yet beneath it lay a profound depth waiting to be uncovered. A glimpse of fragility. "You're welcome," I replied, the words slipping out as I searched for something more to say. In that fleeting moment, we found ourselves locked in a gaze, each of us silently unraveling the thoughts that danced between us. Neither of us took a step toward departure. Uncertainty hung in the air, a delicate tension between us. I found myself wondering if the moment called for a kiss, or if she was hoping for one from me. Yet the atmosphere within the car crackled with an unmistakable tension. At last, her voice broke the silence. "I'll see you tomorrow, Alex," she declared, her voice firm once more, as if she were reclaiming her poise. I stepped out of the car, a sense of purpose guiding my movements as I made my way to her side, gently opening the door for her. As she stepped out, she offered me another gentle smile, and for a fleeting moment I could have sworn there was something deeper in her gaze, a tale left untold. As I made my way home that night, my mind was a whirlwind of a million thoughts, each one vying for attention. She was unique, and so was I. What could it signify? What was unfolding before us? Unbeknownst to me, yet one truth stood out vividly. On this night, a shift had occurred, and the path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. A few days had passed since our unforgettable night out, and it lingered in my thoughts like a captivating tale waiting to be told. Each encounter with her stirred a familiar blend of uncertainty and desire within me. What could this possibly be? Was I perhaps entangled in a web of illusions that didn't truly exist? Or could it be that there was something deeper lurking just out of sight? For a long time I had viewed her merely as Alex's mom. Now there she was, truly a remarkable presence. Her gaze held a depth, and her words danced with a rhythm that revealed a hidden facet of her I had yet to discover. She was more than the mother I had come to know throughout the years. It felt as though she was unveiling a part of herself that had remained concealed for far too long. But what did that signify for my journey? There I stood, uncertain of my desires, lost in a sea of possibilities. It had never crossed my mind to see her in this light before. And there I stood, enveloped in a bond that defied all logic. The message arrived in the afternoon, right as I was wrapping up a project. "Hey Alex, I'm pondering a little adventure outside the house tomorrow. How about we venture to that new bar downtown? It promises to be quite the adventure." With a moment's pause, I pondered my response. A fragment of my being yearned to decline, to retreat and avoid the peril of overstepping any limits. Yet, a memory flickered in my mind of our last gathering. It flowed naturally. We shared a delightful experience. So, what's stopping us? Absolutely, that sounds delightful. At what hour shall we gather? What do you think of 7? It was peculiar, yet I couldn't shake off the thrill that coursed through me. I repeatedly reassured myself that it was merely an evening spent between two individuals who had shared a long history. As the hands of the clock inched toward 7, a wave of nervousness washed over me, stronger than anything I had ever felt before. As I rapped gently on the door, it swung open with remarkable swiftness, revealing her on the other side. On this occasion, she donned a deep red dress that seemed to take years off her appearance. Her hair was elegantly styled, and a subtle yet confident smile graced her lips. Without a moment's thought, the words slipped from my lips. "You look great." She smiled, and once more, that little sparkle danced in her eyes, a whisper of something more beneath the surface. "Thank you," she whispered gently. "You're quite impressive in your own right." As we made our way to the car, a quietness enveloped us, yet it held no discomfort. There was a newfound comfort between us, a connection I hadn't anticipated. The journey into the heart of the city carried a unique essence this time. The atmosphere hung heavy around us, as if we stood on the precipice of an irreversible moment. Upon our arrival at the bar, we found it to be quaint yet filled with a delightful atmosphere, adorned with gentle lighting and the soothing sounds of soft music. We found ourselves at the bar, drinks in hand, and soon enough, the conversation began to flow as if we were old friends, sharing tales and laughter effortlessly. Her laughter danced in the air as she enjoyed my jokes, and soon enough, I was swept away in the joy of her own humor. It flowed with ease. "Alex," she said, pausing after a sip of her wine, as if savoring the moment before continuing her tale. "Well, let me tell you, this isn't something I typically engage in. It feels like ages since I last ventured out in such a way." "I understand," I replied, "but I'm truly pleased you took that step." Her smile blossomed, a touch gentler than before. "I'm so pleased you decided to join me," she said with a warm smile. I aimed to maintain a cheerful atmosphere, yet an undeniable heaviness lingered around us. A silent tension lingered between us, a truth we both danced around. Her gaze held a new depth, a shift that was unmistakable. It had transformed beyond mere friendship. "Have you ever sensed that you let an opportunity slip through your fingers?" Out of the blue, she inquired. Uncertainty clouded my thoughts as I pondered the response. Regrets lingered in my heart, undeniably, yet this tale was not centered on my own struggles. The tale revolved around her, and I was acutely aware of it. "I am uncertain," I replied with a measured pace. "It seems that at times, everyone experiences those feelings." As if there was a path they could have chosen that would lead to a different outcome. With a thoughtful gaze, she peered into her drink, gently swirling it as if contemplating the tales it might tell. In that moment, she raised her gaze, our eyes meeting in a silent exchange. "I always put everyone else first," she whispered softly. "Ah, Alex, the tale of my work and all that it encompasses." Yet in that moment, her words faded away. A hush fell over the scene, and for a fleeting instant, I pondered if this was the very moment everything would change. As if she held a secret on the tip of her tongue, ready to spill forth, yet she chose not to. Instead, she simply offered me that smile once more, the very same smile she had bestowed upon me just the other night. Yet on this occasion, uncertainty clouded my understanding of its meaning. "You're not alone in feeling like you've missed something important," I murmured, striving to maintain a calm tone. With a slight tilt of her head, she regarded me intently. After a moment that seemed to stretch on forever, she finally found her voice. "I apologize if this feels a bit uncomfortable." "Alex," she murmured, her gaze falling once more. "Well, you see, I'm at a bit of a crossroads, and the path ahead is shrouded in uncertainty. At times, a deep sense of solitude washes over me amidst it all. It's hard to believe I've found myself in this place, isn't it? Never did I imagine I'd find myself in the company of someone like you, all the while navigating the journey of discovering my true self." Words escaped me in that moment. Her voice carried a heaviness that was impossible to overlook, a blend of rawness and vulnerability that resonated deeply. "I'm not going anywhere," I whispered gently. "Once upon a time, I found myself in a place where I truly belonged. Here I stand. In this journey, you have companions by your side." In that moment, as the words slipped from my lips, a revelation dawned upon me. I was referring to them. Once upon a time, in this very place, I made my presence known. And for reasons unknown, I found myself unwilling to turn my back on this. As the night unfolded, an undeniable sense crept in, whispering that the lines we had drawn were starting to fade away. Perhaps I was treading on a boundary that eluded my comprehension. In that instant, my concerns faded away. A connection lingered in the air, unspoken yet palpable. Despite my efforts to push it away, the truth loomed larger than ever, demanding my attention. There I was, parked outside her house, my hands tightly clutching the steering wheel, anticipation swirling in the air. Time had flowed on since the moment everything between us transformed. Initially, I believed it was an error, an occurrence that was never meant to unfold. Yet, in that moment of reflection, I understood that what we shared was truly unique. It was beyond my words to convey, and I found myself pondering its meaning, still shrouded in mystery. Yet deep down, I understood that we had both ventured beyond the boundaries. And so, the moment arrived for us to ponder our next steps. I sent her a message. Shall we have a conversation? In a flash, her response arrived. Certainly. Please, step inside. With a deep breath filling my lungs, I emerged from the car and made my way to the front door, each step a part of the unfolding tale. As I approached, the door swung open before my knuckles could even make contact, revealing her radiant smile. Yet beneath that warmth lay a subtle depth, a reflection of the emotions swirling within me. "Hey," she said, her voice gentle, yet I could sense the underlying tension woven through her words. I stepped in after her, the silence enveloping us like a thick fog, the gravity of our shared moments lingering heavily around us. Once we settled into our seats, she faced me, her gaze probing, attempting to decipher my thoughts just as I was unraveling hers. It was clear to us that we could no longer continue down this path. "Alex," she began, her voice a soft whisper. "I've been pondering deeply, reflecting on all that has transpired, and I believe we both sense the direction this is taking us." She paused, searching for the right words. "I can't do this anymore, not like this." I knew exactly what she meant. We couldn't continue living in this limbo. The connection between us was undeniable, but it wasn't something that could ever come to light. It wasn't fair to either of us. We both had to let go of what was never meant to be anything more than a secret, something shared between the two of us and no one else. "I agree," I said softly. "I've been thinking the same thing. This, whatever it is, it can't be anything more. We can't tell anyone. We can't let this get out." Her eyes softened, and she nodded, looking relieved. "I don't want anyone to know. Not because I'm ashamed," she continued, her voice trembling, "but because I know that what we have is ours. It's private. It's ours to keep. This is a treasure, a secret that belongs solely to us, untouched by anyone else." I reclined in the chair, absorbing her words like a tale unfolding before me. Indeed, she was correct. This was not a matter of guilt or fear. It was a realization that what had transpired was a treasure, even if it had to remain concealed. It was not a story woven with magic and wonder. There would be no fairy tale ending, no sweeping romance. Yet there exists a truth, a depth of feeling that remains beyond the grasp of others. "I don't want to lose what we have," I said, my voice a fragile whisper, as if the very air around us might shatter the moment. "Yet I understand that we must maintain this course, hidden from the light. Only the shadows can hold this secret." With a soft touch, she reached out and brushed her fingers against my hand. "We'll share this secret, and I'm perfectly fine with that. What we shared will forever linger in my heart, a cherished secret just for us." Her words flowed like a gentle stream, wrapping around you with a soothing embrace. The sensation mirrored my own. I found it hard to release this, not completely. Yet, it became evident that returning to the way things once were was no longer an option. This chapter closed, yet it did so without shattering my spirit. Our paths were our own to tread, yet we had woven a bond that time could never unravel. We rose to our feet, and she enveloped me in a hug, her arms wrapping around me for a heartbeat longer than I had anticipated. It was a moment devoid of romance, merely two souls who had woven a tapestry of shared experiences, now standing at the crossroads, aware that the time had arrived to part ways. As I stepped out of her house that evening, a wave of finality washed over me, yet there lingered an unexpected tranquility. The conclusion took me by surprise, yet it was one I could accept and move forward from. We chose to guard our secrets closely, tucked away from the prying eyes of the world, and we found comfort in that shared understanding. That final look I cast her way before slipping into my car spoke volumes. Words were unnecessary in that moment. We shared a deep understanding. What we possessed, what we exchanged, it belonged to us, and it would forever remain in that realm. I drove away, my heart feeling a touch lighter, fully aware that this was the path that destiny had laid out for me. We had embarked on our journey, and in a curious twist of fate, It turned out to be the right one. Our secret would be kept under wraps, and that was all we needed. It has been roughly 7 months since the beginning of our journey together. It has been 7 months since I first stepped into her house that fateful day, the moment when everything shifted. That time has been on my mind quite a bit, perhaps more than I care to acknowledge. But isn't it all woven into the tale we tell now? We've journeyed far from where we once stood, but such is the nature of life's unfolding tale. Change is the only constant, particularly when shadows of secrets linger in the air. For the past few months, I've been weaving together my thoughts and memories, pondering everything that has transpired. In the beginning, uncertainty clouded my thoughts about the situation, but as I reflect on it now, clarity has emerged. The secret we shared, it wasn't meant to last. Maybe it wasn't supposed to. That's the sentiment I hold at this moment, and truthfully, I've come to terms with it. For the first few months, it felt like we had something that no one else could touch. We met in secret, shared moments no one else could know about. There was a thrill in it, in the secrecy, in the quiet moments we shared when no one was watching. But slowly, things began to change. The thrill began to wane, and the burden of the secret grew increasingly oppressive. The truth was no longer a secret to be kept in the shadows. It was a tale of the weight it bore on our shoulders. Our paths began to diverge in ways that were difficult for me to articulate at the outset. Our conversations dwindled, and when they did occur, they carried an air of obligation. Once the bond we shared was a vibrant tapestry, but now it was unraveling, and we were both at a loss for how to mend it. On a fateful night, everything reached its climax. The memory of that argument lingers in my mind, as vivid as if it had just unfolded yesterday. It was a conversation that took on a life of its own, twisting and turning in unexpected ways, all without anyone meaning for it to go that route. In that moment, a cloud of frustration hung between us, yet words eluded our grasp, leaving our feelings unspoken. We had grown weary of the charade, exhausted from concealing the truth that had long ceased to serve us both. "I don't know what you want from me anymore, Alex," she said, her voice cutting through the air. "The weight of this burden is becoming too much to bear. I can no longer wear this mask, pretending that everything is just fine." And I found myself without a response for her. In that moment, I found myself just as uncertain about my desires. In that moment, a revelation washed over me. Perhaps what we shared was never destined to endure through the ages. We had woven a tapestry of genuine connection, a rare bond, yet it was not the kind of relationship that could endure the heavy burden of our own hopes and dreams. We can't continue down this path. I spoke softly, my words barely escaping my lips, yet they carried weight. The words lingered in the space between us, sealing our fate irrevocably. That night unfolded like a tapestry, woven with threads of conversation about all that we had experienced together, the treasures we had lost along the way, and the dreams we dared to chase in the days to come. Yet, as the tale unfolds, one truth remains. Perhaps the moment has come to release what once was. And so we embarked on that journey. We came to a mutual understanding that our journey had reached its conclusion. The final chapter had been written, and we were both acutely aware of it. As I reflect on the past, I find it challenging to pinpoint any regrets that linger in my heart. It was a tale that danced on the edges of perfection, a relationship woven with threads that many might find hard to grasp. Yet it was indeed real, and for a moment, it sufficed. At this moment, I find no trace of bitterness or anger within me. In the tapestry of life, I find myself thankful for the threads we wove together, for the bond we forged, no matter how brief it may have been. 5 months have passed since we embarked on that journey together. It has been a long silence since that fateful night. There are moments when she crosses my mind, memories of how we were, and the emotions we shared linger in the air. Yet I hold no regrets in my heart. We both emerged from it with a piece of ourselves, even if the conclusion wasn't what we had envisioned. The future remains a mystery, and the thought of never crossing paths with her again lingers in my mind. For the moment, I find solace in the way everything unfolded. We crafted our paths, and ultimately we each ventured forward, and truthfully, I find peace in that.